Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Super duper. How are you?
Very good. We've got a great show coming your way next. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
FreshPatch.com is making dogs like me happy. They send out real grass pads for us to use indoors. Now when it's cold outside, I can go inside. And when I've used up the real grass patch, the mailman brings me a new Fresh Patch. It's the best idea since doggy treats. Convince your mommy to try it today. I suggest you try Puppy Dog Eyes. FreshPatch.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's FreshPatch.com, promo code RADIO.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, November the 7th. It is National Canine Lymphoma Awareness Day. It's also National Stress Awareness Day. So are you aware of stress, Heidi?
I am always aware of stress.
I'm also aware of stress.
Some days worse than others.
Yeah. Hey, I got a quote for today from William James. Be not afraid of life. Believe that it is worth living. And I'll try that again. And your belief will help you create that fact. Today is a Wednesday, as I already mentioned. It is also a winning Wednesday. We have a guest coming up later in the program, Kelsey Miller. Kelsey is a young lady who just finished putting together a book. It's called I'll Be There For You, the Friends book.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that title right, but I'll get it right when I talk to her. I have a note here that just says Book About Friends. I know it's not called the Book About Friends.
Our daughter has been watching that.
Yeah, she has been. She's kind of getting hooked on it. But we'll be chatting with Kelsey about the Friends book. I think it's called I'll Be There For You, the Book About Friends. I think that's what it is, but we'll know for sure in a bit. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix, TIX.org.
Is it a golf course or is it a rehab center? I get to ask Heidi, and she has to tell me, what do you think, Heidi? Crossroads, Phoenix, Arizona. Is it a golf course or is it a rehab center? What makes you think that?
Because I just think it's a rehab center.
Because is correct.
Because.
Golf
as long
clap
as I
for
have
Heidi.
a reason.
Yeah, you got a good reason. It was correct.
Because
That
when
was
you
the
go into
reason.
rehab, you're at a crossroads in
There
your
you go.
life.
It's a
That's
good
why I
name
was
for it.
thinking it was.
There you go. You are correct. This is Ben. Is it a golf course or is it a rehab center? We're getting to the time of year where we start planning for holiday parties and other events that often include alcohol. I encourage you to have some alcohol-free options as well. And if you are drinking, be sure to have a designated driver. If you or someone you know has a problem with drugs or alcohol, there is help. Timeforrehab.com would love to connect you with someone who can be there for you or that loved one. If you feel like it's time to finally get the help you need, we're here for you. Timeforrehab.com. That's timeforrehab.com. And this is your brain on drugs. A downstate New York man has been arrested after trying to smuggle marijuana across the Peace Bridge into the United States. 23-year-old David Dratch faces charges including possession of a controlled substance, importation of a controlled substance, and smuggling goods into the U.S. of A. He was encountered entering the U.S. from the Canadian port of entry at Peace Bridge. I'm struggling to talk here. October 25th is when this happened. Anyway, he got himself in a little bit of trouble, Heidi. He was arrested. The charge carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Yeah, it's a bad plan. But that is what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. From the Little Screen, Naomi Watts will star in Game of Thrones prequel pilot at HBO. The exact date of the character's lifespan is being kept under wraps, but it is known she will be playing a charismatic socialite hiding a dark secret. So there you go.
That sounds fascinating.
Fascinating.
I don't watch that show, so I'm really...
Yeah, but people who do...
I have no clue what
we're
talking about.
The first official Star Trek cartoon has been ordered by CBS All Access with Emmy award-winning Rick and Morty writer Mike McMahon on the project. The show, titled Star Trek Lower Decks, will be a comedy centered on the support crew serving on one of the Starfleet's less important ships. So it's not the main actors. It's like all the people that you maybe saw them once or twice, and they're going to make a comedy cartoon out of that.
All right.
I think that's kind of a neat idea.
That is cute.
And I bet they'll have a good following. So there you go. A lot of Trekkies out there. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now your scoop of the day brought to you by FreshPatch.com, promo code radio. A woman in Utah gave birth while stopped at an intersection. Can you imagine that?
Whoa.
You're like waving somebody to go ahead. She's like, no, trust me. You go ahead. I'm going to be here a minute.
Wow. Atta girl.
Yeah. A study
What a
found
trooper.
men look at women's bodies more than men look at women's faces. Well, that's not good. But
That's
also,
not good for me.
it's just a sad study, period. But women do the same thing. Women check out other women's bodies more than they check out other women's
That's true.
faces. So women, you're pointing at us going, why would you do such a thing? And you're like, well, you're doing such a thing.
Yeah.
So,
We're doing it in a judgmental way, though. You guys are doing it
ogling?
for different
Is that
reasons.
what it is?
Yeah.
Well, fall is here, and that means we're going to enjoy a host of somewhat unpleasant sights and sounds and smells, and one of the least pleasant, if you're a homeowner or live near one, landscaping professionals with leaf blowers. That constantly turns up towards the top of the list of most annoying things. And it's turning things on and off, picking up old-fashioned rakes, dragging rakes around, making all that noise. That's something that is really, really annoying. It says more and more communities and homeowners associations are now banning the noisy leaf blower or restricting when it can be used.
You have
I do.
a
Mine's an electric one.
very bizarre leaf blower and hose fetish.
No, I don't.
You do.
Oh, I just like to clean things up. I use a leaf blower to blow all the dust out of the garage. And I like to
But
use
to the point where you're out there for an hour, it's like,
No.
dude, you it's gone. You blew it all out.
Just making sure everything's tidy. You got to understand, our garage floor has
You don't,
cracks in it now.
you don't understand, though. When you're out there doing that, the kids and I stand in the house and just watch you out the window and laugh at you for long periods of time because it's just ridiculous.
Look at that. He's got a toy. Hey, I got to tell the leaf blower story
playing
quick.
with those.
First, let me finish the rest of this. 68% of homeowners in communities that don't have leaf blower restrictions said they would welcome a leaf blower restriction. So if that's the case, I'm going to move. Because I like my leaf blower. Here's the thing that's funny about my leaf blower. I got it for Christmas. Was it the year after we got married or 2 years? It was a long time ago. I've had this thing a long time. But I got it from Heidi's grandmother, who at the time I didn't know her really well. I had only known her for a couple years. We didn't see her a lot. I'd see her once in a while. But every time I'd go over to her house, she would have a little honey-do list. She's like, hey, there's something wrong with this shelf. So I'd fix that shelf. She's like, I don't know what's going on with this. So I was always busy, working on stuff, which I loved doing. It was awesome. So for Christmas, she buys me a leaf blower, and she buys Heidi a pair of gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, John loves that story.
I love it. She's like, thanks, Grandma. So apparently somebody's got to put the leaves in the bag. That was awesome. Hey, 2 elderly ladies got into a fist fight over the final handicap parking spot at a California hospital. The fight happened between a 67-year-old and an 88-year-old.
Whoa.
The older one broke a hip during the fight.
Oh.
That's no good. So who wins a fight? When you break a hip, do you win? Do you get that space then? Or did you
Oh, that's really
say, okay,
sad.
I feel bad. You can have the space now. Well, great. Now I've got a broken hip. I don't need the space. I need a gurney or something. I don't know what you
That's
do.
really sad.
That is. A 67-year-old and an 88-year-old fighting over a parking space. You wouldn't think that. Yeah, you would. If you've ever been in a parking lot, you can understand where that came from. Sadly, that's kind of where we're at today. A video has gone viral of a Tulsa woman who was arrested for stealing a car, and then she stole the police cruiser she was in after they handcuffed her.
Oh, wow.
She led the police on a 1-mile chase before she finally got caught at a Motel 6.
Oh, so that was her destination of choice.
Apparently, she's like, hey, I'm on the run. Where am I going to go? Motel 6. They left the police lights on for her.
Wow.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Are you trying to find the perfect gift for someone with a good sense of humor? FunkyMonkeyShirts.com has a good selection of funny t-shirts and more. Some with Christmas themes. One that even replaces the ugly Christmas sweater for your next party. Find some silly shirts at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Also, learn how you can sell your own designs to make some extra Christmas cash. There's a link at the bottom of the page at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We have a special guest joining us today, Kelsey Miller. Kelsey is a journalist, and when she was 10 years old, there was this television show that came on TV, and I bet you could sing the theme song with me if you wanted to. It's called Friends. That was the TV show. And she has a new book called I'll Be There For You, and that's from the theme song. Kelsey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Now, I love the title, I'll Be There For You, the one about friends. And this is definitely a good time to put this book out. It's 24 years ago. It doesn't seem right, but 24 years ago that debuted, and it made a big difference for a lot of people when they're watching TV. It was kind of the first show of its kind, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely one of the largest and most successful ensemble comedies on television, and certainly it's a show that captured the world's attention in a totally unique way, and I don't think that that's been replicated since.
So now, what was it that made you decide I have to write a book about this particular television show?
Well, I was really interested in the fact that, not only I wanted to dive deep into the story of Friends, which is really fascinating as well, and there's a huge nostalgia element, but I also wanted to dive into the Friends phenomenon, really talking about the way that the show affected culture, which it did in ways that so many of us don't even realize. I mean, obviously we all know that it influenced our haircuts and our style and things like that, but it actually, it influenced our speech patterns, and it changed a lot of other countries' ideas of what Americans were like. It had just this massive, massive cultural impact, and I find that story really fascinating as well. So I wanted to bring it all together.
And now when this television program came out in 1994, you were just 10 years old. Did you watch the show right when it came out, or did you watch it in reruns later?
No, I think I did watch it from the beginning. I remember the first summer after the first season wrapped up, it blew up in reruns, and I think that's what I first discovered it, was during summer reruns in 1995. And, then, as we all know, Friends has always sort of been there in the background of our lives. It's been in syndication forever and ever. And then it came out on Netflix in 2015, and all of a sudden it was as if the hot new show was back, even though it's a show that had been on the air for, as we say, a very, very, very long time at that point. So, yeah, I had a very strong relationship to the show for a long time.
And I think that's really cool when Netflix puts out programs from, like this 24 years ago, and a whole new generation gets to experience it. And for us, we've got kids, we get to then sit and watch these and we go, I watched this when I was your age, and it's just kind of fun.
That is really a wonderful thing, I think. And I like talking to kids about it, especially ones who weren't born when it was on the air, and just getting their take on it, because teenagers are wonderful these days in particular. They have very strong opinions about the show.
Now, the thing that's interesting about Friends, there were some firsts, and there were some things that weren't really necessarily on other programs. So the first lesbian wedding on primetime television happened on Friends. Ross faced part-time parenthood. Now, that was something that you didn't see that on TV a lot, but a lot of people watching were going through that. So I think that's one of the reasons people kind of were drawn to this, is everybody kind of watched it, and they maybe related to one character more so than others, right?
Yeah, I think that's true. We all like to talk about the surrealistic parts of Friends and the parts that just seem so ridiculous, like the giant apartments and things, the fact that nobody ever worked. But there really were some elements on it that I think a lot of people could relate to, and certainly to the characters. Maybe not to their clothes and to their lifestyle, but they could relate to the milestones they were going through and the sort of 20-something struggles that they were going through. And they could certainly relate to that experience of friendship, which is what the show was really about at its core.
Well, we've got a copy of the book right here. It's called I'll Be There For You, the one about Friends. We're actually going to give this today since it is a winning Wednesday. So if you'd like to win, I'm going to give you details on how to do that here in a moment. But first, I want to say, Kelsey, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. And thank you for putting your heart into this. I know that there are a lot of fans out there. I got a feeling this book is going to do really well.
Oh, John, thank you so much. I hope so.
Again, Kelsey Miller, she's been our guest today. She's the author of I'll Be There For You, the one about friends. It's a book that just came out in October. It is available now. I've got a link to the book in our show notes, and I also have a link to win the book in our show notes for today, since it's a winning Wednesday. You can find all of that at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
If you want to grow your business, you can add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers, or a combination of both. There's no other way to grow your business. Just those two. Add more customers or sell more stuff to your current customers. And if you already have a relationship with your customers and you have their email address, you can reach out to them with special offers to easily grow your sales, and you'll make your customers even happier. Let the experts at Constant Contact help. Get a free trial now. Text Radio Trial to number 22828. That's Radio Trial, all one word, to number 22828.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Robert Todd Lincoln, that's Abraham Lincoln's son, he was in close proximity to 2 out of the 4 presidential assassinations. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
I'm sorry. It says 3 out of the 4. I knew about 2 of them. This says 3. I didn't know about the third one. So that would have been, apparently, Abraham Lincoln's assassination. Mm-hmm. And it would have been William McKinley then, apparently, as well. And I knew James Abrams Garfield.
Huh.
So I didn't know he was around for the third one, but it says 3 of the 4 presidential assassinations, he was in the proximity. That is just crazy. Thanks for listening. This has been a very bizarre fun fact.
Freshpatch.com is making dogs like me happy. They send out real grass pads for us to use indoors. Now when it's cold outside, I can go inside. And when I've used up the real grass patch, the mailman brings me a new fresh patch. It's the best idea since doggy treats. Convince your mommy to try it today. I suggest you try Puppy Dog Eyes. Freshpatch.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 10%. That's freshpatch.com, promo code RADIO.
Time now for today's weird word, and it's metacognition. Metacognition. What do you think metacognition is, Heidi?
I don't know.
metacognition. It is the process of thinking about how we think and make meaning. So it's thinking about thinking. If you're thinking about thinking, that is metacognition, Heidi.
All righty.
Metacognition. The awareness or analysis of one's own learning or thinking process. So there you go. That is a interesting one. It's today's grandiloquent word.
Want to honor a veteran? Consider giving to Veterans Tickets Foundation, a national nonprofit who supports our currently serving military, veterans, and family members of those we've lost in action by providing them with free tickets to sporting events, concerts, performing arts, and family activities. VetTix is dedicated to giving back to those who gave us so much. Learn how you can help at vettix.org. VetTix.org.
Now, from the weird news file, local authorities in New Jersey say a man who allegedly has been dumping bags of dirty diapers at intersections throughout the Franklin Township for the last year has finally been caught. The 68-year-old. What?
Oh, my goodness.
Come on. You'd be old enough to know better at that point. 68-year-old
Yes.
William Friedman was spotted making his latest diaper drop at 3:15 a.m. Police issued a multiple township ordinances because apparently this has been going on a while. They could count on Friedman to be a regular. They said he would do it at least 3 times a week at different intersections, and he would do it a couple of times a month in one area, then move to a different area. He said we would never get a downtime. Following a traffic stop, he was taken to a police headquarters where he was interviewed about the diapers. In the affidavit, he said he admitted to dropping these bags multiple times at multiple different intersections throughout the past 10 months. Here's my question. Why? Why didn't they put that in the story? Why was he doing this?
Maybe he didn't have a reason.
If he doesn't have a reason, wouldn't they say he had no reason? That would be a good piece for the story. Very, very weird news.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. We head to Florida, where an aviation business owner is accused of stripping parts from airplanes in order to sell them and then replacing them with older parts. That's not good. The police department there say multiple airplane owners have been victimized by this scheme. A 60-year-old by the name of Joseph Lippo was arrested on charges of theft of more than $10,000 from a person 65 or older and grand theft. He removed parts including radios and a compass and a battery from 2 airplanes and then charged the owner for the replacement. So he's accused of stealing fuel and a life raft from one of the planes and charged the owner for repairs that the police said were never performed. One of his former employees told the police that they suspected One of his former employees told police the suspect regularly instructed him to remove parts and fuel from the planes that were stored at his hangar.
Wow. That's
Officers
not good.
said that Officers say the parts that he stole would get resold at a consignment store or on Craigslist. According to the news release, the total of everything stolen was over $50,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, not good. Oh, boy. That is today's Moment of Duh.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Time now for fake news or Florida. I'm going to cover this page so you can't get your little wandering eyes over here to look at this. My beautiful bride, I always ask her at this time, is it fake news or Florida? It's either something that we made up or something that happened in the great state of Florida. Tell me, Heidi, fake news or Florida? Pompano Beach man who missed his bus ride rode 15 miles clinging to the ladder on the back of a bus. Fake news or Florida?
Fake news.
Wrongo. It was a true story. That happened. I don't know why it makes me so happy when you get it wrong.
I know.
It's because
relish
I do.
my
because
failure.
You're so, no, it's because you're
no,
so
you
darn
do.
good.
It's true. You love it when I fail.
It's just because you never do. It's a big day when you get it wrong. It means I tricked you. I'm not good at tricking you. So, yeah, you guessed it wrong. I'm so sorry. I will weep for you, and we will go get coffee together right now. How's that sound?
Okay.
No, that doesn't work. All right, this has been Fake News or Florida. Some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I wish I could give you a choice, but I didn't prepare. I only have one story.
That's
so
all right.
Here is the one that you're going to get. It says, let's pay tribute to the humble shoe shiner who used all of his $200,000 in tips to help uninsured children.
Read this story,
this-
and it made me cry.
It is a great story. I love, love, love stories like this. And I love it when people think of me when they read these things. I've had people share this. Two different people shared this story with me.
That's awesome.
And I've got it right here in front of us, and we're going to read it to you in a second. Here we go. Celebrities and news outlets are paying homage to Albert Lexie, legendary shoe shiner who donated $200,000, $202,000 actually, to benefit sick and uninsured children. He's a philanthropist. He passed away earlier this week. It says in the story, it's actually probably a couple weeks ago now. He was 76 years young. He started working at the UPMC Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh in 1981, and he retired in 2013. He donated $202,000 worth of shoe shining tips to the Free Care Fund. That ensures that every young patient can receive medical care that's needed, regardless of their family's ability to pay. He would wake up every morning at 5:50 a.m. so he could get to the hospital early and start shining shoes by 7:25. Despite being credited for donating such an impressive sum of money, he only made $10,000 a year for himself. Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing.
But that's all he needed, he said. So he says, I wanted to see the kids get well. So they got well and got better and things like that. I needed I made myself happy. Lexie once told a news article. I don't say, where did the police come from? I don't know what I'm talking about. Over the course of his 28-year career, the compassionate senior received a plethora of awards and recognition and media attention for his labor of love. What a cool story. It's a great story.
And just looking at the picture of him, doesn't he just look like
Absolutely.
the nicest man?
He does. I've got a link to that story if you'd like to see it. It's in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.